What's up, everybody? Nick Olson, Chupacabra Offroad, and I joined the dark side. Long-time Polaris owner, first-time CanAm owner. I'm excited to see what the hype is about. I've driven a couple of these in different situations, but first time owning one, so really excited. Got to give a huge shout out to Nash Power Sports, Bill Nash, Brandon Nash, the team run an amazing dealership. They gave us a killer deal. They stock our products. They've been great to work with and very helpful. So if you guys are in the Arizona area and you're looking for a new UTV, Honda, Yamaha, CanAm, they do have some Polaris on used here and there. Awesome group of guys, 3 locations. Decided to go with the RC, so we're buying this vehicle brand new here in early October 2021. There's basically almost no new units to be had. Luckily they had one of these RCs. I might have gone with a different model. I was definitely not gonna go with the Smart Shocks or the base model, because before I did make my purchase, I talked to my suspension tuner, Wayne Islerson of Alltech, and he said, hey Nick, for what you like to do, get the suspension dialed. The 2.5-inch Fox shocks are not gonna work as well as these 3.0s. And honestly, Nick, the Smart Shock CanAm stuff isn't as dialed as you would probably prefer. So go ahead and get these, which are the 3.0s, of course, that also come on the RR model. And I'm excited to own a vehicle with all this adjustability. If you guys have been following the channel, you know I'm a suspension nerd. So high and low speed compression, high and low speed rebound. You know, got a real dual rate system. So I'm excited to get these to Wayne, have him work his magic, but also be able to fine tune it. But before we do that, we're gonna put a few hundred miles on it, drive it stock, see how it really feels. So maybe you can articulate better when we do upgrade it. So I know usually with all these new UTVs, everything feels nice and crispy for the first few hundred miles, and you can kind of get a real idea of what it works like. So again, we decided to go with the RC model. I'm excited. It doesn't match our Chup colors, but we'll be able to put something together. But most of you guys probably know this is the rock crawler version. So you've got extra skid plate coverage. You've got the front winch standard. You also have a couple other things like the aluminum roof, the intrusion bar, 32-inch tires. So you guys know me, I'm all about having some real tires. We'll run these, we'll try them out before we switch them up. Maybe we'll run a 33, maybe we won't. But excited to have a car that is really dialed right here off the showroom floor. So if you guys have been following the channel as well, you would have seen that we launched the B2G rear storage rack. So of course we're going to be using this to test that out, make some modifications, continually improve it before we go to market with you guys here later this year for the consumer version of it. So we're going to get this thing loaded up, take it back to our local desert. Thanks again, Nash Power Sports. We'll catch up with you in a minute.
That's why we're using this before, not just a myriad of trails out here, you know? All good?
from the first ride, first impression was overall really good. One of the things I mentioned earlier, after you kind of saw some of the driving footage, saw some of the terrain that we got to go experience, like I said, it's got some ruts, it's got some whoops, that type of thing, which makes it good to kind of get a feel for it. But I thought the power wasn't as abrupt as I was expecting. The last time I drove a 2C CanAm, it was a little bit older. It was a 2018, and it was, I think, a stage 2 or stage 3 where, you know, it was clutched and staged, kind of had that horsepower hit maybe a little bit harder. And being this is the first time I've driven an RC edition, you know, a CanAm that comes stock, clutched with 32s, I thought the power delivery was really smooth and linear, so it didn't have that kind of throw you back in your seat feel, which I actually kind of like, because you kind of modulate the throttle a little bit more, and it almost is kind of like what eco mode, what I thought it was going to feel like, versus sport mode, if that makes any sense. So that was kind of a first impression overall with the power. Not to say that it was slow, it was just kind of very linear, and compared to the Polaris, it kind of felt like it almost, you start to take off and the revs would start to go up like you were in low range, but you needed to be in high, and then it would kind of clutch out and build speed. So just like a little bit of a seat of the pants feel. It might change a little as it continues to get broken in, but power wise, it was really impressive. I do like the 2 different modes. You know, as you guys know, if you follow the channel, I can do all different types of riding, so it's gonna be nice to throw in that eco mode, that smoother power delivery when we are playing on the rocks. So look forward to doing some more of that type of riding in this car. And suspension wise, again, like I mentioned, really impressed with the overall small bump sensitivity. I will be getting the shocks resprung and revalved. Before that, I'll just kind of play around with it, drive it a little bit more stock, and then start playing around with the crossover rings as well as the high and low speed clickers. If you guys know me, you know I'm a bit of a suspension geek. I like toying with that type of thing, so it's nice to have a car with all those adjustments. Good to drive it before we throw our new B2G rear storage rack on the back, so I have a good feel. And like I said, it's good to kind of understand these things so I can relay this information better to you when we do more tuning. We do get these valve and resprung, so I can convey to you guys really what you are getting for your money and what I feel about the car. So it's just kind of one of the fun elements of driving a new vehicle. So like I said, I just set the tires at 12 PSI, left it bone stock. We'll let the thing kind of break in maybe for another 100 miles or so and start to see where we're at ride height wise. We already have some 32-inch tire stock, so we've got a good base to go off of. I might be switching back to some 33-inch tires, and we'll kind of get those numbers all together as we get used to it, used to driving and playing with it and seeing like what we like and what I recommend, and what of course what the suspension tuner recommends. So that's kind of why this first video was just set up as it was. So okay, so I'm kind of alluding to why I got the vehicle that I got. Nick, first off, a 2-part question we get a lot on social. Hey, why did you get a 21 instead of a 22? And then most importantly, Nick, why did you jump ship from Polaris to CanAm? So it's kind of funny, you know, I used to work for Polaris, the fact that I'm kind of jumping ship and owning my first non-Polaris UTV. But to answer the question first, this kind of question all goes together. Basically, we announced a new product we've been working on for a while at the Sand Show called our B2G storage rack. Well, we want to keep iterating on that. We've been selling some of those. We're going to continue to sell more. We want to make that that product as good as it can be, which is really going to allow that to accelerate once I own a CanAm. I spend some time getting some seat time with that product in different conditions, and we've got some trips planned, of course, for the next few months as it's starting to cool off when we get into our riding season. So that was a big reason, honestly, why we wanted to go with the CanAm. I've always had an interest in wanting to own one. It's good for kind of making content. At this point, we've made over 200 videos on our YouTube channel, all with Polaris, and while that's good and well, it's something I know really well, you don't really know what you're missing, and I'm always kind of have that curiosity to know what I would be missing. So basically, with the speed being delayed however long it's going to be delayed, we needed something to drive. We're also working on products for you X3 owners, so it's good to use these products to test them, get a better feel in comparison. You know, as you guys know, I spent a ton of seat time in Polaris. Now it's going to spend some seat time in a CanAm. It'll make it better off in terms of me explaining how I think the speed compares to those things, and how we talk about upgrading the X3. So we'll be kind of upgrading the CanAm kind of part by part. We're not going to do a complete build on it right out of the gate. I don't really necessarily care to do that. I like to kind of drive it and see how each kind of upgrade feels. So kind of do something different than what I see other companies do in the aftermarket. But
you know, we actually make a lot of content as well, so want to relate the value of these type of things in addition to us adding all of our own products that we'll be working on and also using to develop more. So that was kind of the short answer of why I decided to make the plunge and get a CanAm. A couple people commented, hey, you got kids, why not the 4-seater? Well, if you guys have seen some of the content on the channel, I really don't like the Max 4-seater. I hate how long it is. I think it's unnecessary. I don't think it's near as fun to own and drive in all the scenarios I like to drive. And you know, if the speed shows up and it's not what I'm expecting, what I would do is probably sell the speed and then get my 2-seater. I'd have it custom stretched to 117-inch wheelbase, which Madigan Motorsports and a few other companies have done. So that might be the holy grail UTV if the speed doesn't end up to be all it's cracked up to be, but I think the speed will. Just saying, as we kind of move forward and try different things, that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment, unless, you know, Polaris has something amazing here in the next few months or years. So that's just kind of how I think about it. Just wanted to try something different. The 2-seater, the wheelbase is really good. It's really good, and I'm sure once we get the suspension, the setup kind of dialed in, it's going to be even better. And in a big range of scenarios, and I think with rock crawling, I'm going to be a little more scared, not having that longer wheelbase that I had on the Polaris 4, which is why I kind of wanted to try those type of gnarlier obstacles. Like we went to Moab and I went for it. I don't think I'm going to try some of the gnarly obstacles like that in the CanAm, just because the 2-seaters don't have as much wheelbase, of course, which makes it more difficult and scary. So we'll see. Who knows? I got the RC, I got the winch. Maybe I'll try to take that thing back to Moab and get up Bridget Canyon. We'll see. So it's fun to always try different things, have different experiences, you know, and see how it goes. So in the meantime, next trip on the docket is Glamis. I'll be going out with a couple days with my family. So my little guy, he wants to go for his birthday. He'll be riding his little ATV. I'll be on my dirt bike, and probably the wife and my youngest will be in the 2-seat CanAm. So for this trip, and then in the future, like I said, hopefully we'll see the speed 4-seater here in the next few months as we get into more of these like family ride type of events and rides and such. So a lot of you guys ask, hey Nick, why'd you get a 21? Well, I really anticipated being able to have a 22. I mean, as history has shown us, usually CanAm will make a release. 22s will be on the ground right about now or before. Well, you know, we're living in unprecedentedly different times, and I spoke to one of my buddies that owns a dealership as soon as I got to the Sand Show a couple weeks back, and he said, hey Nick, bad news, those 22s I thought we're going to be getting in October, well, now CanAm pushed him back. I might not see any 22s until December or January. So it was a bit of a bummer. I know I made some content, you know, the 22s are improved. I would have liked to have gotten an improved 22 with the 850 watt stator with the updated rear hubs, but you know, I didn't have the time, unfortunately, to wait for 2 to 3.5 months to get one. And once I started calling around, I really realized how few 2-seaters even exist, you know, in the entire state in the Southwest. So I reached out to a lot of people just as an idea. You know, I come from the sales world working in Polaris. I know how many units dealers normally had on the ground, and I want to be realistic, you know, with what my expectations were with pricing and whatnot. So of course, my boys at Nash Power Sports took good care of me. Those guys are awesome. Check them out here if you're in the area, you're looking for a great deal on a CanAm, and they had an RC. So it didn't match the jive of the Chupacabra teal. Originally I was going to try to find an all black RR model, but you know, it is what it is. The RC's rad. It's kind of got some of those nicer accessories already. Like I said, I'm excited to have a car with a winch, and I've never had that before. So we'll get into making it cool. We'll maybe get rid of some of the red. I'm not sure. We'll definitely incorporate some teal, of course, and the kind of the flat color, that chalk is a really good looking color. So it's a cool vehicle. I like the additional skid plate protection on the trailing arm. The front bumper, I think I might go with something different. You know, you can't really put some lights on it. I don't know if I'm gonna do a light bar up top this time. I might switch it up and just have some lighting on the top of the front shock tower, of course on our new lights, and we might do some additional lighting down on the front bumper if I decide that I want to, or decide that we need it. So stay tuned, guys. We're gonna build this CanAm out, like I said, kind of part by part, a little bit slower. I'm not sure what cage we're gonna go with, what doors, all that type of thing, but we got some things in store to make it cool, make it unique, and make it, of course, a car that's equipped for all different types of riding that we like to do here on the channel. So if you guys like the content, thanks for watching again. Go ahead, like and subscribe, share a comment below, and as always, got a whole lot more coming your way.